Oh, what the heck? There we go. Hi, everybody. Now you can see me. Total casual tonight. I don't have makeup on. It's just me being me. Finally got cigarettes though. So, godless, haha. It has been a long time since I've seen anybody. So I thought I'd drop in. Stormy may or may not be joining us. That's up to her. Comments. That's what I'm trying to turn my comments on. The link is pinned if you guys want to come up, say hi, hang out for a minute. But yeah, just another beautiful night outside in Oregon. Let me find my cigarettes. There they are. Sorry, trying to get my cigarettes. So, how's everybody doing tonight? I don't have anything set up for Stormy, godless. If I did, I wish I did. I don't know how. It's been a minute. Yep, Oregon. I came out to Oregon for my son because the education in Las Vegas, or Clark County, I should say, is horrible. But he has shown such a remarkable improvement since we've been here. I was able to put him in the proper grade instead of holding him back like I was doing in Las Vegas. And his behavior has calmed down and complete 180. So much better. And he's 7 now. Oh, I haven't been paying any attention, godless. So yeah, come on up. Let me know what's going on. It's been a while. I have no clue. Hey, Ramesh. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome, bees. I'm glad. I have no clue what that's supposed to mean. So I hope you come up and tell me because I've been really out of the loop. I haven't even been lurking. You know how people say they lurk, but they don't? Yeah. Oh, herbal, I'd love to have a banana, but being in mosquito weather where there are a lot of mosquitoes, I don't like to eat bananas because they seem to think I'm a fucking walking buffet. So I don't do bananas uh, here because for a couple days you could use me as a star constellation. I had gotten eaten up by so many mosquitoes right through my clothes. Since when does that make a difference, godless? Don't come in here starting and saying something like that and then get all clam and then become a clam. I mean, we are pushing people down the rabbit hole, so get up here and let me know what happened. I have an idea, and actually, now that I think of it, and that's her story to tell, and it's totally up to her, and she doesn't really even care. I don't know the full story behind it. Well, any other full story other than what I was told by her, because, and I would take her word over most people's anyhow. But as to the extent, I don't know. What annoys you? When does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with the tea in China? God, let's get up here. Don't make me go down there and drag your ass up here. Because I have been totally out of the loop. And I haven't, I mean, I've hopped on a live here and there for a second or two, but didn't stay long. And yes, I am still mad at Mosh because he did blindside me. I fucking hate Jim Terry. I fucking hate that man. When he first came over to Doug's, he was funny. I thought he was okay, but then he's just mean and he's cruel, and It's YouTube. Why are you going to attack people in real life? And then he says he's a private eye, but he can't even get my information right. It's so funny living with my mom. Oh, please. But he's a shock jock. What's this whole new to streaming or looking to level up? Check out StreamYard and get what? I don't understand that. All right. But the fact that Jim showed up didn't really bother me because I handled myself okay, I guess. Even though I doubt anybody could understand anything we were saying. What bugged me was I didn't even realize it was Jim Terry that jumped up on panel. And it took a minute for me to realize who it was. And Mosh didn't tell me. He didn't warn me. I knew he'd been sniffing around all of us lately, and he's a horrible person to have. I mean, he's just outright disgusting. But he thinks he's God's gift to fucking YouTube, and I will give him this, though. He did say he was only in it to make cash, though he doesn't have a YouTube channel anymore. Never even tried to do his OTT. Oop, my light went out. Hold on. Yoo-hoo. Motion light. Give me 1 second. Make sure my brother didn't shut the light off on me. Nope, motion light. There we go. Oh, dropped my glasses. I hate them motion lights. Oh, looks like we got company. Let's see who it is. Oh, there he is. Hey, Godless. Sorry, I should have told you can turn your cam off.
Oh, okay, we lost Alice for a second. Oh, there she is.
You what?
You were a spinning circle for 1 second.
I was.
Yeah. Maybe it's my end. It could be my end.
Could be. So, what happened from your perspective on all that?
I wasn't really there. All the drama happens after I leave because I can only hang
Well, you were there.
for...
You were there when Mosh blindsided me. I remembered seeing you in chat.
Yeah, that
Exactly, Fast Eddie. Hold on, Fast
yeah,
Eddie. I want to make you a mod.
I didn't realize Mosh did that on purpose at first.
So, yeah, he did. And then he tried to tell me that, oh, I didn't know. And I'm like, bullshit, you didn't know. You fucking knew. Everybody knows how I feel about him.
I don't think many people like Jim Terry.
Fast Eddie, you're a managing mod. I've missed you. I'm glad. Oh, no. This happened a couple of weeks ago. And like I said, I could handle myself with Jim Terry, and I doubt anybody could even make out what we were saying because we were just really going at it. It was the fact that Mosh actually did that, knowing. Because we were just really going at it. Turn that off. Knowing how I felt about him. I've never been shy about how I feel about him. Everybody knows how I feel about him.
Wasn't that the same stream that Jim Terry porn bombed to?
Oh, yeah.
So he got it, whatever. He got it. Took a chance and got it.
Hey, Pat.
That was funny because it looked like he was using real shit's dick. Sorry, I don't have a reference.
Real shit? I don't have a problem with real shit. He's not my bestie or anything. We don't sit around and do each other's hair and tell each other our secrets. But I don't have any problem with real shit. Pat, you're a mod now, too. Hey, Smoke. So I thought I'd come on and get caught up on everything.
Oh, I don't really want to talk about the one thing, like, with Stormy, like that.
Yeah, that's between her and MCF.
I still go over there because it's like still
But right or
interesting.
wrong, I'm getting the shovel.
Oh man. Well, anyway.
Well, Pat, I know that. Pat, if you want to come up here, the link's pinned. Exactly. I'm surprised he actually did it on his own instead of having somebody else come in and do it. Yes, I am using a headset. It's actually the headset that one of the headsets that my son got for his PS4 that he was given for his birthday. I'm not trying to copy your style, OT's her nuts. It's just my earpods are dead. I've only
I
ever seen
use
PJ
wired.
with headphones.
I only ever use wired earbuds or whatever because I don't want to like charge them or find them or buy more than one set of them or charge them or.
Oh, PJ, I'm still laughing, by the way. I'm still laughing. You are a sellout. I cannot believe you started talking to her again. I've never known you to get on a stream, Nuz. So how could I be copying your style when I've never seen you on a stream? But okay.
I was lurking somewhere else earlier, still
Oh,
seeing
there's
bullshit
Smoke.
over there.
Hey, Smoke.
How you been? How you been
Who
doing?
knows, Fast Eddie? I was just laughing at him when I first seen it. I'm just hanging out,
Yeah.
kind of bored. Kids asleep, so I thought I'd come outside and have a cigarette and hang out for about an hour or so.
I had a cigarette about a month or two ago, and it was so bad that I got sick. And
Oh,
I'm
was that a
like,
joint in your hand?
well, right, yeah, that's a one hitter. So,
Oh yeah, I
but
loved those
I'd quit the
when we
cigarette a while back.
when we would be doing our setups outside when I was still doing Teamster work, you know, installing and dismantling the conventions that came to town. I would be out there by myself and I'd be hitting my one hitter like that bat like that because it looked just like a cigarette.
Yeah, nobody knows. They're like, it's not, and then the ones would be like,
You're outside.
weed. It's like, I don't smell nothing. I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't do it anywhere close to them, and I usually have a real cigarette going. When I did it, I was real slick about how I would do it.
Well, I'd send them in the car back in the
Yeah.
day. I'd be just
Mater!
like normal and go down and then come back up with a cigarette in case, like a cop pulls up next to you at a traffic light or some shit, right?
Well,
Yeah, I was
I
doing
have nothing against LC.
Who?
Oh, somebody come in saying Team LC, and I was saying I don't have anything against LC.
He
I don't
says that
mention
in every
LC.
stream. Oh, fuck LC.
I don't mention anything about LC unless LC's in the room. And then I have no talking to LC. I ran into an issue about that the other night, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just a viewer. Sorry, I'm innocent.
Well, I heard about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more. He actually had my back. I wasn't even in chat, and I wasn't even on his stream. I thought that was pretty cool. Listen, yeah. When he's drunk, when he gets drunk, then by then I usually leave the stream because I don't like being around people that get drunk like that. But when he's not drunk, he's okay. He's a decent guy, at least in my opinion. I've never seen some of the nasty shit he's done to.
I've heard about the nasty shit that he's done. I've not ever seen it. I've seen edited versions of it, and that's just again. I choose not to speak about that.
Yeah, that's between damn light.
Yeah, that's none of my fucking business. Period.
That's nobody's business, really. I mean,
doesn't get along with LC. That's none of my fucking business. I like to go to Godless's channel and watch him play Grand Theft Auto and just chill out. I mean,
yeah.
I'm a grown
I had to stop playing.
I'm gonna play with.
I had
who
to
I want.
actually delete my Grand Theft Auto because I never I lost my PS Plus account, and when my nephew gave my son his PS4 because he has a PS5 because my son's addicted to Fortnite. I lost, and he had took his name off of the PS4, and so I wasn't able to get online with. Hey, 214, welcome. I wasn't
threw
able to
that
get
fucking-
online.
I threw that Grand Theft shit out the fucking window on the PC when I kept getting hacked. And I'm like, fuck this shit. And I deleted the game. I went to Steam and I purged it and everything. So I'd have to rebuy it now just to play with Grand Theft 5. But if I'm not mistaken, the 6th one is coming out next year, and it's going to be strictly for the console games. And then in about another year to year and a half, it will release for PC, because the PC is where all the hackers and shit fucked up their shark cards and the stuff Rockstar was selling on the side. So they're only releasing, if I'm not mistaken, strictly for Xbox and PlayStation for at least a good year and a half, if not longer, before a PC
Hi,
release.
Freeside.
It's gonna be.
So I don't know what I want to go get. I'm like, shit. Look at an
just gonna
Xbox or PlayStation. These things ain't cheap.
I can't afford it anymore, and I can't access a lot of my games that I have on PlayStation because I was a Plus member at the time, and because I used to be able to afford it, but I just can't anymore.
I know how that is. I had to cancel. I canceled my HBO Max, the Apple TV. What I do is I'll, like, in the winter time, the dead of winter, when it's cold as shit, I ain't going anywhere. I'll rent it for about 3 months and power watch the shit out of everything, and then cancel it all again and wait till next year at that time.
The last time I was able to do it, I went and I bought the PS4 and all that. And of course, when I have things like that, I like to have the bells and whistles. So back then I did have all the bells and whistles. And then for about close to 6 years, I hadn't even been on one because I had to give mine up and all that. I like playing some of the older games. I had one converted from the PS2 that's really hard to find these days, Fatal Frame, and had it converted for the PS3 at the time. I like that one. I did a bunch of shrooms, and it says, don't play by yourself alone in the dark. And I ate a bunch of shrooms and played that game. I had it off in 5 minutes. I had to turn it off.
I liked that when PlayStation first came out, that fucking game, Twisted Metal. It was fun as shit.
Yeah, it was.
A bunch of people, your buddies, all getting together trying to smash in or blow each other up. It's funny as shit. And then, that's the only thing I like. With the stroke and the eye and shit, Flight Simulator or the real fast moving games and shit much like I used to. So I'm rolling back more to the Apple ecosystem, where I purchased the Mac Mini. It's like just a cube, and that's it. Because then I can buy my own monitor and keyboard, but then I have everything. Whatever I do on that transfers to the phone, the watches, everything. Hey, DFW or 214.
When I do psychedelic drugs, 214, I have to be real careful because I'm already screwed up in the head, and so that's all you need is for me to be taking a bunch of psychedelic drugs. So I usually try to be by myself, watch Alice in Wonderland, but when I do shrooms, it makes me laugh, and that's all I do is laugh.
Shrooms are fun. To me, shrooms are always a quick, not a problem. Tastes like shit, but LSD, a tab of white blotter, and somewhere to.
It's not like it used to be, though.
For 8 hours. That was a better time.
Well, when I did the Fatal Frame thing, I had about a half ounce of shrooms, and with shrooms, you don't really want to do that much. You only do a little at a time. And I'm sitting there popping it in my mouth like it's fucking candy. I had an eighth left the next day.
I used to go to the Dead concerts back in the day down at Soldier Field, and it was a weekend thing. So you were able to hang out in the parking lot all weekend, and just the LSD that would come through with them was just insane.
I spent too much time being a mother hen for all my friends that would take it because they're just stupid.
I told you I
And
found out about you. You have
stuff
that way about
stuff
you.
like that. Stuff like that I have to take by myself because I don't trust other people. I mean, one one time when I did acid, my ex came into the house and he goes, "Your cousin Steve's getting arrested," and he was making it up. But I'm half asleep. I reached for where he kept his gun. I was like, "What am I going to go out there and fight the cops with a gun?" But the cops weren't out there or anything. He was just trying to fuck with me.
The LSD and even shrooms, I found. I guess shrooms are okay by yourself, but I've just always found even edibles in a large dosage. It's always funner with friends.
I don't do edibles. I don't really like edibles. And a lot of the edibles I don't agree with because they make it look too much like regular candy. And that I am disgusted with. I can't stand that. Because too many people, because weed, they've become so complacent with weed, even around their own children. Kids get into it. They think it's regular candy. I mean, we have kids accidentally overdosing on fentanyl because of it, because it's coming out looking like fucking candy.
Yeah, I've seen some of that where it's like, the pop rocks and it looks like nerds or some shit. It is
Mm-hmm.
packaged where, I mean, the shit I get is the same shit every time. So it's not like
See,
they're going to
I
run
love
out.
weed.
They're gonna always
I
have
love
it.
weed, but I don't agree with them being edibles and whatnot.
I only like the edibles. It's like, again, if it's a sit down, I got time to fuck around. If not, the one hitter's perfect. It hits fast and wears off just as quick.
Well, yeah, because I haven't smoked weed to get stoned since I was in fucking high school. Now I just do it to keep from killing people.
I'm telling you, this little one pinch, it's like people are like, how much you smoke a day? I'm like, take a cigarette, empty it all out into that pile, and then just take this and pinch it. And I get like 2 or 3 hits off of this pinch. So I would
I'll, t-
say less than a cigarette a day. So,
I'll
but
turn a cigarette into a paper
there's
to
studies
smoke
coming
weed
out
with.
that are saying that, chronic use, like guys that are going through an ounce a week, that kind of shit. They're like heart disease, doubles the risk of stroke. They even said in some of the cases, they're like, they don't give a shit how you're taking it. It's THC. The THC in large doses amounts is cardiovascular nightmare, and it doubles your risk of stroke. They're like almost as bad as fucking smoking cigarettes. I was like, holy shit, there's some shit coming out now on marijuana. And I mean, like for myself, I'm a cigarette a day. I don't consider myself, I'm not ripping bong hits and going through an ounce a week. I would say that's who you're talking about, not that spectrum.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to see some negative shit coming down the line with these high numbers of THC, even in the
Because
flower.
too many people are just going fucking crazy about it because it's legal. Let's go do it. Da 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 da. And
I
that's
smoked
just
weed. I smoked it before. I smoked it 10 years ago. It's like, this is 38% THC. You take 2 little one hits. I don't feel shit yet. You're going to start powering it. And then when it hits, you're going to be like, oh, I'm freaking out, man. And you're going to be in the hospital. You'll literally be in the hospital. I think I'm having a heart attack. But it's like, it's going through the roof where
when I was in high school and you were supposed to keep that kind of thing still hidden and stuff. My mom asked me if I smoked weed, and I told her, I said, don't ever ask me a question you don't want to hear an answer for. And she asked me again. I said, yes, I do. And if it wasn't for that, I'd be an only child or I'd be an orphan.
Oh my.
I didn't smoke it till I was 22.
I started when I was 13.
It calmed me the fuck down real quick because I had like a rage disorder. They called it back then. Medicines
That's
and
pretty
shit.
much. That's pretty much what I use it for, is to keep me kind of mellowed, because otherwise I'm a real bitch.
The problem was drug tests. But if you looked at the part, they didn't fuck with you too hard. You know, like I'm not walking into work, wearing fucking marijuana leaves and shit. You know, my tattoos are properly placed, short hair. You know, I look like a fucking cop. So I'm not getting, the random, so to say, I'm not getting the suspicious looks that you smoke marijuana. And again, I know how to, light up a hitter on cruising down the fucking road, pull up, and a cop pulls up next to you. This comes down, the camel wide light gets put in its place and gets lit, and comes right the fuck back up. I know how to go in with the fucking Purin from testclear.com. It's the big,
Mhm.
it's a little vial thing you fill into this other vial with water, shake the fucker up, put the hand, the things you put in your gloves to keep your hands
Yeah.
warm, and take one of them, put it around that, crotch it. It'll keep it body temperature for 8 hours. So if you think you're getting random that day, you just fuck them. And then you walk the fuck in, empty your pockets out and shit. They give you that cup, you pour that shit in there. Look at that tablet, because if that little thing on the side, because if it's too warm, blow on it like it's a fine wine. Go, or hot chocolate, right? And then look at it. If it's hot, you have a fever, and they're going to make you retest. And then you don't have no more of the piss, and you're fucked. You can't come back, or it's an automatic fail. So, take it from the one-eyed motherfucker that's been around.
I got railroaded. I got railroaded when I'd been with the union for over 25 years, and I actually got railroaded in the first test that they gave me that I had used a drug test on. They fucking tried telling me I was dirty for a drug that I hadn't touched in years, and I said, well, what about any THC? They're like, what are you talking about? I said, I went and smoked a fucking fat-ass joint before I even came back from lunch. And you're telling me that's not in, you didn't pick up any of those numbers? Now I know your fucking numbers are faulty.
Because they gotta hit the fucking. It used to be you could take the nitrates that were capsules and just fucking use your own piss and take these things, pop the little lids, pour it in there, and you passed. And then they started searching for nitrates.
Well,
so
they wanted me anyway. They wanted me anyway.
For people's piss. And
they were mad because I didn't take the drug counseling classes that they thought that I should have, because they were saying, well, we can't control that. This is what came up. And
right.
I used the people they had suggested, but they weren't happy with that, because the therapist said she doesn't have a drug problem. She has an anger issues. And then when I got railroaded for the last time at work, they wouldn't accept my first P. And of course, I couldn't, they came and they searched me the second time, sat there and watched me, and they wouldn't accept any of those either. Because the guy who does the drug test refuses to to accept the first test in case anybody uses a drug kit.
Yeah. Oh shit.
And
God,
they limited we're supposed to have 4 hours to do our testing. They refused to take me to the drug facility. They were insisting on doing it on site. My steward was just fucking stupid, my union steward. And so that's why I think the fucking union was in on it, because this manager that did the first test said she saw me in the back. She heard me in the bathroom smoking crack cocaine. I hadn't even been in the bathroom that day. And I'm like, I'm kind of curious. How do you know what crack cocaine sounds like? And I said, I can honestly tell you, I don't do crack cocaine.
I don't know how you could work on crack cocaine.
No joke.
It's not one of those functioning drugs, is it? I don't know. I'm not a crack cocaine.
I wasn't. I mean, I liked a little coke sprinkled on a joint here and there when I was younger, but
okay.
I don't. Why am I going to be in the bathroom smoking crack cocaine? I was busy fucking working.
I don't even fucking have that anymore. I mean, that's another thing. I'm glad I grew up in the 80s, because they didn't have fentanyl. If your shit got stepped on, it was like a baby laxative or some shit.
And my union steward, that time, he kept saying, and he was the head union steward for the company I was working with. He kept saying, well, I have a committee to get to because it was right about the time we were settling our making a new contract.
Yeah.
I've got a committee to go to. I got a committee to go to. Hey, Stormy.
Hi, Stormy.
Oh,
Yeah, hi. I
I
don't have the
understand.
chat. And you know the story. I can't see that chat shit. I
Mhm.
got a phone over here, but I can't see it.
She's waiting for her son to fall asleep before she joins us. That's all.
Well, it's good to see that you're alive
Yeah,
and able to communicate.
I've been quiet for a while.
Both
Still
of you,
has
yeah. I
internet.
just, I'm worried because again, without you and Stormy and Marissa, I never would have met any of this shit.
Yeah, I take credit. I was the one that originally let you up, and it was all because you said, yes, I am a troll, but I'm not your troll.
And it's been a year. I think it's been 1 year this
Mhm.
month.
I was like, fuck it, let him up.
I'm just like, fuck, I didn't know it went
We
that
haven't
deep.
been able to get rid of you since.
You were a little group. Because it never ends. It doesn't stop. Whenever I think I've seen it all or something, somebody comes back that had been on a 6-month hiatus or some shit like that and has been, oh, I've been on this shit for 15 years. I just took an 8-month break or some shit.
It's a little harder for me to get on streams and stuff because I don't really have the privacy that I did back when I was still living in Vegas. And then
money right
a lot of people are just, I mean, you got people like Marissa Wire and even Jim Terry coming around again, and they take all the fun out of YouTube.
This shit's for viewers. I mean, to go live, I'm not interested in the channel. I like to just jump up. And again, if you know Discord, this to me is Discord. I do not know that I don't even have YouTube open. So because
I remember when I jumped into your Discord. I remember when I jumped into your Discord and surprised the hell out of you when I jumped into your actual video chat you were having at the time.
That one got sent out quick. It was like, I don't know if I want to interact yet.
Yeah, I was just playing with Discord at the moment. I mean,
I've had it forever. It's just an antique. I refused to put more than 3 rooms, right? I mean, I'm like, when I don't need they have, some of these servers are like one's got 1 million plus people in it, but they don't know because the bots keep them separate. It is amazing because it's a test ground for all that AI shit that's running around right now. It got its feet.
At the moment, it's the only social media I have. I can't get into my Facebook. I can't get into my Instagram. I can't get into my Twitter. They blocked my IP address even. I've even tried creating a new account.
I talk to my buddies and shit on it. It's just easy, a group, the group conference thing, kind of just like now. We're just shooting the shit. You can upload a photo real quick. It's instead of calling somebody on FaceTime or on the telephone, bringing them in, it's the fucking telephone as we know it, I think, is going away. And these platforms like Discord and shit are kind of, the social media, it's taking over because you're going to see people every day.
Kind of like with AOL's chat rooms.
Almost. I mean, I guess if I used Red Z and Mom and Mets, I proved the fact that family can see each other every day in a social media platform. I only use that as a family example. That's it. As far as what's the fucking point of having a telephone or a FaceTime, because you can direct message people through the Discords and shit. So it became, I tried to get rid of it, and I was like, I found it to be a little difficult. I found using the telephone and text messaging, sending you the fucking upload a photo and shit, it was just easier to do it on Discord.
Yeah.
It integrates
now and then I'll get bored and I'll mess with the buttons, but Broke and 214 are the only ones I talk to on there.
I don't fuck with none of that nitro shit because half of it's not going to fucking work anyways. Who gives a shit if you can show a 4K? Because nobody's letting you share movies anymore.
I've been working off of this crappy broken tablet. I don't even have a phone at the moment. And so I don't have the setup I used to, because I used to be really into all of that stuff.
It's a
And
pain.
it's what bugs me a lot.
It's like owning a fucking car now, these phones. Because they're not phones, they're computers, right? So you got to get the max version because it's the bigger screen, and then the tablet works with the phone, which then works with the watch. So the only thing that doesn't work is the fucking Windows shit. So
I would love to have a computer again.
Once this takes a shit, I'm buying that little cube fucking Mac thing and sticking it over because I don't play the games that I used to. I don't need computers like I used to. I don't think that kind of shit's going to play Grand Theft Auto, but fuck, I'll just run out and buy a PlayStation or an Xbox. You know what I'm saying? If I want to, because
I was a cyber pirate. I was a cyber pirate. I had 2 towers, but with 3 partitions on each one, and I had all these monitors, all these keyboards. In fact, I got a permanent twitch to my finger from a mouse falling asleep with the mouse.
It's a little crazy.
Which totally sucks.
Going to type, you like the depth perception's off. So like where the keys and shit are at, it's just learning some new shit. Where that was, so like it looked like I was like shit, a lot of typos. So I
know how to do a lot of shit, but I don't have the right kind of hardware at the moment. That's why I'm so thankful. One of the reasons why I'm thankful for Stormy, other than her being my bestie, is because she helps me out without having a computer.
I don't like it. I can't keep up with it no more. I'm done. It was a hobby. I've got the 3090 Founders Edition inside. I have been fucking around with this shit. I could have bought 2 Harley Davidsons with the amount of money that I've dumped into this shit over the last 20 years. So I'm just done with it. I can't keep up with it no more. When the phone fucking breaks, you buy a new phone. When the fucking computer breaks, I just can't do this gaming shit. I can't keep up with it. And fuck, these games are I
don't like all this censoring bullshit.
Fuck, eventually you're going to be on a fixed income, right? You're retired, right? So, grandma and grandpa can't afford the $10,000 gaming computer anymore. So I think I'm getting to that point at 55. I'm like, I'm slowing the fuck down.
On Facebook, I had like 5,000 friends, but that's because I would accept all my friendship requests for the games. The more friends you had to play the game, the better the bonuses. But when I would go on Facebook, I'd tell people I'm going to go stalk people.
No, and go in what? Just go in and ghost?
Well, just go in and catch up with people. I just call it stalking.
Okay. I'm just switching platforms to where, the games, my Xbox controller hooks up to this tablet. So I can sit back and play some reasonable games, multiplayer with people. And I'm thinking that cross-platform shit. So if I buy a game and you have the game on PlayStation and Godless has it on the Xbox, we should all still be able to fucking play it.
Hey, way up, dude.
I would hope.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's what Fortnite, doesn't matter what platform you're using to play the game, that it allows you to play the game.
Yeah, so you can all go in and enjoy yourselves, right? It doesn't fucking matter, that cross-platform.
Mm-hmm.
But see, the only thing that's having the issue with it is the PC. And I'm just like, again, like you said, if you are out of code, if you take a hiatus away from that shit, it passes by you like a fucking freight train.
Oh, yeah.
To catch up again and learn what they're doing now, what the new tricks are, this, that, and the other. I don't give a fuck anymore.
I just
I find all that interesting.
I just like shooting at the cops.
It's fun though, but then it brought up that, don't you think that is one of those, remember you couldn't go see a rated R movie unless you were, 18?
Yeah.
They wouldn't let you in to go see the fucking movie, right?
Yeah.
The kids have been playing, fucking Grand Theft Auto's a violent game, right? But in my day it was the devil music if you play the record backwards and shit, So
it's one of the reasons
something.
Other than not being able to play online and already beating the game, my son was starting to want to play it. And when I had it to go online, I didn't mind so much because you're just running around. He can kill whoever he wants. But when he's trying to play the missions, I didn't like that because it was like, no, you can't play this game. Because of how the verbal, the whole talk, the whole talking and everything. And it's like, you want to run around on my online account and shoot at people, that's fine. I'll let you do that because you're not interacting with any of the missions or nothing like that. So you're not hearing about all these drug things and stuff. You're just going around shooting someone.
And shit, right? After they added more shit to it. But I used to we go and you get the missions where it's, you own the little biker bar or some shit, and you go in there and you all get shit faced and then go do a little biker mission when you want and go fuck something up. And then you get tired of that. And when you get done doing the mission, you just fuck around the map. You're like, fuck it, let's just cruise over to my place and get into this car or something. And it was more pimping out shit, going and playing missions when you wanted, or else just, smoking grass and fucking cruising around in the fucking cars. Going as fast as just the Crew.
Need for Speed. The Need for Speed was awesome.
Wasn't it? No, the Crew 2. They've got another one called the Crew 3 coming out, I think. And it was almost the same kind of thing. The open world did whatever you wanted to do. I don't know if you've heard of that or not, Godless, that one. Crew.
No, but I've played Need for Speed.
I think it's Ubisoft that makes that. I used to like Ubisoft because they made the Silent Hunter games, the old fucking World War II sub games. Dude, they were fucking great. They should remake those because they were fucking wildly entertaining.
I liked Fatal Frame. I like the spooky game because you're basically, I love horror stories. I love horror and all that. And I love ghost, paranormal, all that. And the Japanese have the most fucked up version of Ghost, and that's what this is it's based off of the Japanese lore, and the only thing you have to protect yourself is a fucking camera.
Who the fuck else plays that? Beast Mode plays, or his girlfriend plays that fucking game, doesn't she?
I love the game because of that. And it says don't play by yourself alone in the dark. I did it all the time except for with the time I was on shrooms, but there were some good parts. I don't jump very easily. Shit doesn't scare me very easily, and it made me jump a time or two with some of the, because they're so fucked up with their lores.
I think it was the first or second Resident Evil one where they're walking down.
I didn't really get into that one.
Bust through the wall. I'm like, oh,
yeah, shit. Yeah, I never got into that one
either.
It was, they ran it into the fucking dirt, right? But the first few were all right. It was the puzzle game type of shit.
I started to play it when I was babysitting for my cousin, and then when I came over one day, he had decided to play my character to the end, and he goes, well, you ran out of bullets anyway. And I was like, what? I was playing that. And so I just never bothered playing again.
When the video games first started out, the women really weren't. I don't think they were part of the equation. It was guys. At the arcade, it was guys on all the fucking games. In the 80s and all that shit, you didn't start seeing the ladies into the video games.
Oh, I loved playing video games.
But it wasn't in the beginning. In the beginning, the boys, it was something for the fucking boys. Like my mom would sit down and go, let me play Miss Pac-Man on fucking the Atari, right? But other than that, the kids were always using it. It wasn't the, it was my brother and
I had an Atari.
My sister didn't fucking play them video games and shit, right? She was, I don't know. The chicks didn't.
I got into my video games. Don't play on my character because I like to earn and I like to fail on my own. Don't ask me how to play a certain game because I'm not going to tell you. I had to figure it out.
World of Warcraft, I think, changed that. If I'm just thinking, the massive multiplayer shit, right? The whole world. I think that was because that one was where they're going back to, that was like the first big video game where motherfuckers would call in sick to work because they didn't want to leave the world that they were in, right? They're like, there might be a problem here with this shit. I think there's documentaries. South Park made fun of it. You know, I mean, you know, where they played that fucking sound that all the time. So it was. I think that was when I started noticing more women in playing the video games, right? And now, you
Oh,
know,
my dad would ground me from the system so I couldn't ask to play and sit there and play. And then when he'd either break it or get bored with it. I mean, I loved playing the Zelda games. I remember when Zelda
Really?
first came out on Nintendo, it would always break.
That blows my mind because I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. You know, it was like at all the arcades, right? It was just, you know, like Gala West and shit. You know, Brutus would know what I'm talking about. But it was like just, you know, it was the fucking pool hall video games. You know, and the chicks weren't there. You know, it wasn't. You know, the girls were in there playing the video games and shit. But
I'm
this
not
was
all that into the survival games, but I do like the RPG games as long as it's not the one where it gets all involved, where you gotta fucking repair your weapon all the time and gotta build. And it's like, no, fuck that. Just give me my weapon and let me play.
I have to say this was probably in 1985, 1986. You know, with gaming and, you know, just in general in the Midwest. You know, so that was, you know, shit didn't get around too quickly. And, you know, even outside of Chicago or even in Chicago, it was low, you know, low and slow. But again,
Well,
not like it is nowadays where, you know, you're playing Call of Duty. You know, people are getting their asses handed to them by, you know,
fucking 12-year-old, 10-year-olds, and it's. I got called a
12-year-old
camper. I
girls.
said, I'm not camping. I have a fucking sniper rifle. It's not camping. I'm using a sniper fucking rifle. You can't just run and shoot somebody with those. Now, if I had a fully automatic and I'm hidden in a corner and killing everybody, then you can call me a camper.
You
Ooh,
give
that's
me a
nice. I would
trailer.
get a camper.
If you give me a trailer and tell me that inside there is a drone and I got to go fly it, right? I can do it. I can do it because I've been doing flight sim for so fucking long that I know, you know, what
Oh,
to
my
do.
dad loves the flight simulator. He's positive he can land and he
That's
can
why I
fucking
think
take off
there
and
needs
land a
to be-
plane.
Eventually these like again they'll be like they'll be mech warriors running around out in fields beating the shit out of each other, but they're being controlled by, you know, people that are on the other side of the planet and safe, you know, they're safe. So wars are
See,
being
I can
virtually
play
fought.
hours playing some stupid little game, even sit there and do it repetitively because I want to get a certain thing or a certain bonus. But my father will sit there on that flight simulator for hours and doesn't do nothing but fly a plane. And it's like, well, what the fuck are you doing? You getting crashes or anything like that? No, I'm just flying.
That's the
And
thing.
half the time he's not even moving the joystick, and he's completely content.
Yeah, because the autopilot's on and shit. Yeah. That's the thing. It's the most boringest fucking shit in the world. And it will beat the fuck out of your computer because it's got to run for so long. So if I want to fly, if it's a fucking 7-hour flight in real life, it's a 7-hour flight in that fucking sim. And if you do it all right, you'll take off, set everything just right. You'll sit back. I'll fall asleep at night. I can wake up in the morning and then I'll be talking to Tower and shit, or the co-pilot's doing it. And then I just press a few buttons and this fucking thing will land itself. You just kind of flare at the end so you don't, you know, hit the ground real hard. It's that kiss at the end. It's fucking crazy. Yeah. I got out of it though. I had too much money in it. And Microsoft's fucking around and doing new Sims every 5 fucking years now, and making me.
Oh, I hate them sim games.
Yeah, I'm done with them. I'm done with it because I got to keep buying new shit. That the old shit won't transfer with the new shit. So it's like all the aftermarket companies went to this company called X-Plane. That's where everyone's at. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm not buying more cockpits and shit, all throttles and thousands of dollars. I'm not kidding you. The hobby was real.
You may as well just go to pilot school.
Well, because like you can't, you can't afford that. I mean, you can afford to get the license and shit, but you think renting a car is expensive? Just try renting
I actually know a couple pilots, and I mean, one of them was even having to talk down another plane while we were at work working because he was an instructor on the side.
Yeah, that's fucking spooky shit, man. Because you don't know who you're training, right? If they flip the fuck out on their solo, it's like, ah, shit, that's my plane.
I just know that they had to call him to help talk another person down, bring him down.
Yeah, they
and
do that
then
a lot. I mean, well, the
I pissed
small
off.
circles. Yeah.
I pissed off one person because because they're like, yeah, I built a helicopter. I was like, and you flew in it? They got kind of mad.
My
And I was
buddy
like,
told
I'd build a helicopter, but I don't know if I'd have the balls to fly in it.
helicopters beat the air into submission. That's how they work. So I
Like
mean,
an egg beater.
there's
I was
no
just-
fucking. I can fly them quite well.
It's brave that he has that much confidence in his work to get up in the air with it and actually use it. You know, I thought he was just kidding around when he said he built helicopters.
When you feel your ass come up off the ground, it's like you're doing a lot. Your feet gotta be working. You've got the up and down, you're twisting and shit. It's just there's a lot of shit. There's a lot of shit
involved in a helicopter. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny shit was Arma, the old Arma video games and shit that came out, Arma 2 and Arma 3. They had the realistic mode in the helicopters, and I was real good at them. I'd take them little birds and get you in the backyard, and they'd go, holy shit. And I just shut down and I'd smoke weed while they go off and play capture the flag and shit. And then they'd come back and I'd fly them back to base and they'd reload. And then the next AO would pop and I'd have to sneak them in. Because I one time the tail rotor got hit, and I'm like, you got to keep going forward. Because as soon as you're going over 80 miles an hour, it's an airplane. As long as the main one's going, you're okay. And the minute, so you got to land it like an airplane, right? So I'm like, everybody's not, like, don't jump off. We're going to land. So as soon as we land, jump the fuck off. Because then I got to shut shit down or we're going to spin around.
Well, they try to do that in Grand Theft Auto. When you get into the helicopters and whatnot, you got to do a lot of different shit.
Yeah, but the realism, it's like that was, Bohemia Interactive did a lot of fucking, if it wasn't Microsoft's flight sim and shit. But yeah, I have a lot of hours that could transfer. But helicopters are scary because there's no real, you're fucked. Your chances, you're just fucked if something goes wrong. And it does. I mean, you've seen the medical choppers and shit lately and that and all of that. The back tail. You can turn. Yeah, it's a lot. You guys saw that one in New York here just recently.
Watch the Mayday air disasters because they go over. I love watching those.
See, aren't those great? I fucking love that shit because that's like, they're taking a 747 and there's nothing bigger than the size of a fucking quarter. And these fuckers got to put it all back together and figure out what it's about. I fucking love Mayday and all of the fucking ones.
I was watching one today where the pilot was had gliding experience, but he's never tried to slip it in the glider. And here he is on a 747 and he's got to slip it like a glider to be able to land it. And then they almost run over the kids because they ended up going to an abandoned airfield that was being used as drag racing. And these two kids are coming down the freeway just as they hit coming down the fucking, the path thing, whatever. Yeah. And they're all of a sudden this plane's landing right there. And if its nose wheel didn't go out on it, they would have hit. They wouldn't have been able to stop the way they did, but they glided home. Nobody was hurt.
Sioux City, Iowa, too. I think those were DC-9 or DC-10s, right? Where the back engine and shit. It didn't go very well because they had no control. They're flying it with the throttles, right? Taking the engine down on the left to turn it.
Oh, and then a flight instructor had to come in and work the throttles for him.
Yeah. The fucking.
I was watching that today.
Yeah, dude, right? Yeah, you remember that shit. And it flipped the fuck over, but there was a lot of people that lived, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And then that fucking Hudson, that's
because they knew they were going to crash anyhow.
Yeah. I mean, But lately, what the fuck's going on? I mean, they're running into each other all over the place.
Oh, hi, Sam Bell.
Parking spot.
Hey, Sam, welcome.
What's up?
Everybody, this is Sam Bell.
Sam
Hi.
Bell. Hi, Sam.
Yeah, I met him on
Let me
214.
smoke. Hello.
What is fun flying in
What?
GTA, but just the fast, like
What's up, Stormy?
jet? They have a jet in there. That's really fun.
I like using the we, though, too. Hi, Wanda. Sam, I'm going to make you a moderator, and Wanda, too.
See, the thing with real combat is that you got to make sure you don't overstress your aircraft while you're trying to catch the other person and kill them. Like in World War II,
combat is scary, dude. It is.
World War II, the German aircraft, all they do is just get the Americans to try to get them in a nosedive to catch them, and their wings would fucking fall off. The Germans had a better aircraft. They had better submarines.
That's why we gave all their scientists immunity and took them for ourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the guy that when NASA was first created, the person that was running it was the same one that designed the bombs for Hitler.
Yeah.
I mean, just a fighter pilot in general, right? You got to know how to fly. Know the limits of your aircraft, and then you got to try not to get killed and or kill the other person, right?
Well, dude, there's hardly any room for fucking error. I mean, how many planes that crash do you hear of survivors? Not very many.
Oh, well, fuck, just airlines?
Russia got pissed about taking German scientists. They got pissed about it. And that's probably we don't have a good relationship with Russia after that. After we took their scientists, after we took German scientists from them, you know?
Well, I'm glad you came by, Wanda. I can't think of what channel I've seen you on, but yeah, I've seen you.
The Cold War was an interesting. Well, what was it right after World War II? Wasn't it the Korean War?
Yes.
Yes, and then Vietnam.
Led into Vietnam.
We had no business being in Vietnam. We had no business.
We had no business in Korea either.
But the fucking Berlin, right? The East Berlin and West Berlin, the wall and all the fucking shit was up and all of that shit right after.
And the World War wars were basically fucking family arguments because all the Europeans were related.
Wasn't that what
we had business in the Korean War because South Korea got invaded by North Korea, and we were allied with South Korea, and we had to go in and take South back and kick the North out of the South. That we had business,
but they still can't even walk in their fields without a fucking mine going off.
Like that fucking not the DMZ. You don't want to get anywhere near that fucking place.
Yeah,
that's a fucking scary spot.
We had business in the Korean War. We had no business in the Vietnam War.
My grandfather was in the Korea War. He won 3 Purple Hearts, and the video that they show, that I can't remember which beach, but it shows the Marines taking the beach and all that.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to get so pissed because he goes, "How the fuck do you think those Marines were able to land on that beach? Who the fuck do you think was recording it?" Because him and 2 others were the only ones that survived out of his whole unit, and it was they were the ones that had to actually establish a presence on the beach before the Marines would show up.
The war reporters.
And he was considered KIA for over 3 months, and all he had on him was a field knife. And when they found him, they told him they were going to send him home, but they turned around and sent him right back out there. And then he ended up having a fucking grenade or something going off behind him. But it was a fucked up war.
Did you ever see that Saving Private Ryan? That movie with Tom Hanks?
Yeah.
Dude, the beginning of that movie, dude, when the minute that fucking that landing ships thing, I'm just fuck, man, that gave me an anxiety attack.
You know what? Wanda, you saying that the fuels they use is different. I think it results in more deaths on planes. That is so true. I actually lived near a plant that supplied rocket fuel. It was called Pepcon. I was there when it actually exploded back in the 80s. This shit is fucking deadly. And I mean, at least in planes, you know that you're going to go out with a big bang. There was a pilot that was hanging out his window one time. He got sucked out his window and they're holding on to him for dear life. They even thought he was dead, but they couldn't let him go because they didn't want to risk him going into the engine. You remember that one, Smoke?
Oh, the British Airways one? Yeah, man. That
Yeah, where the pilot got sucked right out the window, and they're all holding on to his feet and everything, and
that's why
he ended up living.
Yeah, I can't. That's why I don't fly
getting on a plane for
because I know how to fly, and then I've seen every one of those. They're like, again, I've seen them all. They're fascinating. That Greg Fife and all those fucking guys. I know. I've seen those. The spin-offs, the trains, planes, ships, all the crash investigations. I love them because they're always
so do I.
And shit because they can put it all together and tell you what happened. But then the feeling, that, what happened to those people. And it's like, no, fuck that shit. I'll walk. I'll fucking drive. I'll take a fucking train. And if I take a train, I'm going to be right in the middle. It's like, that's the safe spot on a fucking train. Because, either it's going to rear end some motherfucker or get rear ended. Or fall into a fucking bridge that a ship hits. Fuck, I don't know.
I know when I would go to Wisconsin, the few times I flew, I'd have to land in Minneapolis to take a smaller plane, one where they have to tell people where to sit once they see how much you weigh and all that kind of small plane. And we actually sped because the co-pilot sped all the way to Minneapolis from the airport we took off of in eastern Wisconsin, and we hit the freeway. You could feel him hitting those brakes. You could tell we kind of went in fast, and he goes, "There, I made a 40-minute flight, 20 minutes."
I like when the wind's with you. You can go up higher, and you can go faster and not use as much. They're like, fuck, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be a little early today. Flying, I don't know. The more I learned how to fly, and I mean commercial, like where, you're not flying anymore. You're backing, if somebody's pushing you away from the gate, you're taxiing this fucking thing to the runway, but you've already programmed in the FMC, flight management computer. You've already programmed it and shit to where you take off, right? And as soon as you take off, wheels up, and then they're the fucking, they're pushing buttons. And then they just, okay, positive rate of climb, shit flaps up, boom, that's it. The machine's doing the rest.
Well, you mean flight manifest, not management. Manifest.
No.
Yeah, manifest.
Management computer.
Well, it's called manifest.
There's a YouTube creator that I like watching. He even just became a captain.
747, that's a computer. You punch it all in to each waypoint.
Well,
go watch 74 Gear. He's a creator on YouTube. You'll get a blast. You'll think it's funny. He pulled a prank one time on a stewardess and almost got arrested because he made it seem like he was recording people in the bathroom, and she took it the wrong way.
Yeah, no, they don't fuck around anymore with that shit. Because the more it didn't happen in the 80s and shit. Flying was still a kind of a privilege, right?
Where they're like, we're going to go 50 miles this way because we want to, just so people could see this as they go, because that was part of the whole flight experience.
People are getting shit faced, beating each other up, in the fucking, in the middle of the air. That didn't happen. That didn't really happen in the 80s.
What are you talking about? Whole planes got held hostages.
That's what they were looking for, were hostages, right? There were people holding hostages, not people fucking not.
But they went from fucking hostages to blowing up buildings with the plane. Right, oh yeah, you're talking about that cargo plane. where they had to fight the guy trying to take over the cargo plane that they were on, and the pilot had to, because the other guy was starting to get tired and getting his ass whipped, so the pilot had to maneuver all funny to get the guy to go off balance.
They had the one with fucking when pilots came in and killed the other pilots and the plane crashed into the ground. That's all those fucking Maydays and air crash investigations.
You should watch 74 Gear though, because he tells some funny fucking stories.
Isn't that the redhead or the looks like the guy from the Peanuts? You know, like
Yes.
Peanut character.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like him. He's actually got good content.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I was glad to see he made captain. But he's quite open and honest, and he tells some funny stories.
It's just like truck driving, though. I mean, as far as the management of, as far as, you know, how it's operated, it's freight, you know, whether it's a person or not, it's freight.
Hey, when people told me I drove a forklift, I get pissed. I didn't drive a forklift. I operated one. Any monkey can drive one.
Like they got to fly crews in and shit, you know. You know, the ones that are flying jump seats, you know, just to get to a certain spot, to get to an aircraft that they're just, you know, they're pulling out of storage for the night.
They get paid the shittiest way. When we go to work and clock in, we get paid till we clock out, but they only get paid when the plane is in the air.
And then they said, too, they were saying the pilots, you know, the fly-by nights and shit, some of these guys will rent houses together. So it's like, you know, 8 or 9 of these people working together. They rent a certain house.
Took myself off. I meant to turn my camera off, and I took myself off.
So, like, because they're always there laying over, you know, in between, you know, they land, they're out of hours, they got to crash at this house they rent. And it's, you know, got like 8 or 9 different guys coming in and out all the time, because it's just, that's when you first get your wings, you first get to fly for these companies and shit. You're not making anything. And really, the real money's in the long haul, like to Paris and back, right? You know, the fancy, cushy fucking international flights. And then, of course, the cargo as well.
I couldn't live without the internet. I used my niece said, unless you got Wi-Fi, my aunt ain't coming over because she's got to carry her laptop everywhere. My dog, Mister, when he was still alive, would lay on top of my tablet, my laptop bag because he knew that I wouldn't leave without that. But I'm thinking of actually getting back into the whole true crime thing, and I don't know. I haven't quite made up my mind. I know I want to do a YouTube roast, but I think I'm going to do that.
Like the old Jerry Lewis and shit.
Like the old Dean Martin celebrity roast. Not with this community, because people get too mean. But I'm thinking of doing that. It all depends. But I got to get out of here. I'm on my son's tablet, and it's at 9%. And I was only meaning to hang out an hour.
Well,
hey, Ozzy Oz.
You're all right. And godless.
Yeah.
Sam.
Nothing spectacular. Sorry, I wasn't going to wrestle or pull my tits out or anything.
Oh, that's fine. Well, disappointed you didn't.
I didn't make it a hate stream.
Say that, but
I'll probably
you know. But with that being said, I'm glad to see Stormy's okay and shit. And then, so it's good seeing you. Don't be a stranger. I'll see you.
Yeah, I'll probably do more lives. I might do more video lives though. So godless, I might want to connect with you for a minute so I can see how that gets all set up.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess so. I'm not sure what you mean right now. I'm really stoned.
I mean, like when you stream your Grand Theft Auto, I know you're doing it from the system. I got to figure that out, just for fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, thank you. Yeah. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everybody, for coming. All right, Stormy, I'll talk to you later.
I'm going to. Bye.
Bye. Yeah, Stormy and I have both been kind of absent from the internet. We haven't even really been lurking, and You know how some people say, oh, I haven't even been on, but they've been lurking, because they lurk. But we haven't been really doing that, her or I. But we still talk all the time. And I heard about the wrestling walrus. I hope Arkansas is okay for getting beat up by that. That was harsh. No. There's not very many people that I don't like. You all know who I don't like and who I really don't like. So there's no point. And we'll have to do this again real soon. When Stormy can come up here, maybe we'll get some drinks for old time's sake. But I'll see everybody around. Thanks for joining me.